We'll now welcome in Louisville quarterback Miller Moss, former USC transfer. And Miller, appreciate you joining us today, man. I know you've been busy, but first question I got to ask you, and especially for somebody that plays your position, can you dive in a little bit and talk to me about how different the process is being recruited out of high school to this really accelerated process at the collegiate level? All of a sudden you decide to put your name in the transfer portal, and I'm sure you're getting phone calls from God knows who trying to figure out what's next.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, first off, just thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it. I think, you spoke to the difference in processes, and obviously I went through it at a high school level and, slight like a year before NIL really became a significant thing within college football. So I think it's different in two different ways. First, just in you don't have that 2-3 year runway to make a decision. It's really like you take your visits over the course of a week and you got to make a decision, because these teams that have needs in certain areas, if they don't get you, they obviously have to have, plan B, C, and D. And then obviously, you guys touched on it, but the financial aspect is thrown in there just with every kid's recruiting process now, which is kind of interesting.
Miller, we already spoke about your decision to pick Louisville, but I kind of want to look, before we really dive into that. You obviously, there was some highs, there was some lows. You played for your dream school at USC, California native. I mean, playing for the Trojans as a quarterback, it's a special legacy there. But like I said, there were some highs, some lows. Kind of take me through the last year, this fall, and just kind of how it impacted you mentally, whether it's negative or positive.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, there were some pretty high highs, and then obviously, some lows in there as well. I think it was an interesting year at SC. Obviously, started really high, lost a tough game in Michigan, bounced back and handled Wisconsin in a positive way, and then just kind of had a lot of things, not break our way for people that followed us closely. But like you said, I think I learned a tremendous amount, about myself, about what it takes to win, and just about my dedication to the game overall. So I don't know, in my experience, the tougher things you go through are what really shape you, and I'm hoping that's the case once again.
Miller, we know about Jeff Brom's pedigree and obviously the way that he can develop quarterbacks. We look at Tyler Shuck, we look at Jack Plummer, some of those guys as well. Why was it Louisville for you at the end of the day over some of the other suitors?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just really touched on it. I think Coach Brom's ability to consistently put guys in the NFL really stood out to me, and I think the opportunity that school has and the way that program has trended in the last couple of years to go win a conference championship was also really attractive. So I think Coach Brom does a really good job. There really were some parallels in terms of my high school situation, just with playing for the Clausens. Casey Clausen was my head coach, Rick Clausen was my offensive coordinator. And then Jimmy kind of came around as he wanted to. But it's kind of a similar deal, just with obviously Coach Jeff Brom being the head coach and Brian being on staff, and then Brady being around the building and everything like that. So it was a real, family environment and something that I felt comfortable within.
Miller, you and I spoke after the Missouri trip, and it was clear that Missouri made a big move. Then obviously take the trip to Louisville, and obviously they moved the needle and eventually landed your commitment. But for both fan bases, I kind of want you to shed a little light on how close this really was between the Tigers and the Cardinals.
Yeah, it was a really difficult decision, kind of like we talked about. Coach Drank, Coach Kirby Moore, Sean Gleason, they do a really good job there. And like you said, made a heck of an impression. This really came down to the last hour. But like I said, when it came down to it, talking with people that I trust and care about and that I value their opinion, Coach Brom's ability to consistently put people in the NFL is what, and his pedigree of doing so is really what kind of moves the needle. But I don't want to discredit Missouri at all. I think Coach Drink and that program are going to have a ton of success, and they were first class in everything they did, and I wish them nothing but the best. I mean, so part of me wishes I could go to both, but obviously, you can't do that. So ended up choosing one. But yeah, like you said, they made a heck of an impression, and I wish that program nothing but the best.
From the time you make your decision to go to Louisville, I mean, how quickly do you put on that recruiting hat, which has got to be crazy, right? Because you're still finding out a lot about this program. But me, I'm looking at USC. There are a couple guys that have entered the portal that are some pretty dynamic pass catchers. I just wonder, like, all right, what do the last 96 hours look like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think almost immediately you transition to that, putting that recruiting hat on and trying to build the best possible roster you can be, especially now with the opportunity to attract so much talent in the portal. Obviously, at SC, there were a bunch of guys that decided that, it was in their best interest to leave, and, everybody has to do what's best for them at the end of the day. And I have a great relationship with those guys and love to play with them, but, they have to make the best decision for them, just like I had to make the best decision for me.
When you were looking at the couple guys in the when we're talking about Zachariah Branch, Deuce Robinson, a bunch of guys, but when you were at USC, what was, and it could be practice, game field, whatever, who were some of the guys that you really enjoyed throwing to, connecting with, and who did you feel like you really developed the best relationship with?
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite part, at least, about USC was the relationship with the guys in the locker room and at the school. I think that's what kept me there for the time that I was there. I mean, you touched on a few, obviously Zach, Deuce, Jacoby Lane, Akai Lemon, Kyron Hudson, Kyle Ford. That was one thing that was unique about that room, is there was so much talent and so many different personalities. But yeah, like I said, the relationships and the people within that locker room are really special, and a big reason why I was there for the time that I was.
Miller, this might seem like a dumb question, maybe a simple question. Obviously, you're going to have high goals, but like, what is the driving motivation at Louisville? What would you and your team like to accomplish next year, not only for yourself, but as an organization and a program?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a tremendous honor to deliver Coach Brom his first ACC championship as the head coach of Louisville, and then go on to have success down the road. I mean, obviously, I've been a part of this for a little bit now, so I understand that, making predictions or stating goals in December doesn't mean a ton, and there's a lot of work that goes into that. But I think that'd be awesome and really good for the school, the university, and obviously the city of Louisville.
Miller Moss, appreciate you, man. As always, best of luck the rest of the way, and put that recruiting hat on.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
All right, man. Appreciate you jumping on. Guys, just a reminder, you can find the 105 every Monday and Wednesday. Monday on CBS Sports Network at 2 o'clock Eastern. Wednesday right here on the 24/7 Sports YouTube channel, 1 o'clock Eastern. And wherever you find your podcast, make sure to like and subscribe. Impressive young man there, Tom Loy. You've known him for quite some time. I'll tell you what, I love the fit. Like, you think about what Jeff Brom has been able to do with those type of quarterbacks. I talked about Tyler Shuck. I talked about Jack Plummer, all guys that are probably more day three or priority free agents. Miller Moss, man, the more you dissect his game a little bit, there's a lot to like. And I think the other thing is so funny. I was talking to Ryan Wilson at CBS Sports about this. So much grace given to Garrett Nussmeier, first-year starter, and everybody loves the talent. They love the arm. And it's like, man, this is Miller Moss's first year starting too. I think the things where maybe he struggled, you can talk about the decision-making areas of his game where he wants to get better from an accuracy standpoint. They're all coachable. They're all correctable. Now you put him with Jeff Brom. I mean, shoot, man, I think the sky's the limit, and we'll see how they kind of wrap up this portal. But in terms of the quarterback and the head coach fit, I love it.
Yeah, there is not many more impressive kids that I've ever dealt with than Miller Moss. Smartest kid in the room when you get to know him. His mom's the same way. Great family. And I love the fit. I think that you talked about any potential issues there can be coached. It can be corrected. And he did it. He picked the perfect fit at Louisville. And he really couldn't have gone wrong at Missouri either. But I just love the fit at at Louisville. I think that the connection with the coaching staff, there's going to be playmakers around him. But yeah, very, very impressive kid. And I'm going to be very clear about this. I don't think he was USC's issues last year. I think that they could have and probably should have just kind of wrote it out with him. And maybe they wanted a spark, a fresh start, whatever the case may be. This was the best move for Miller Moss, and I think he's going to thrive in that system, fired up about what's going to happen over the next year.
Everything happens for a reason. You think about Jaden Maeva and the opportunity that he got the last couple games. I think it was less about Miller Moss, more about, hey, we're just trying to find some momentum here to end the season. So we'll see what happens. New challenges ahead for Miller Moss in Louisville and Jeff Brom, and we'll see how it goes. We appreciate him jumping on with us.